Living Local Carolina with Katie Turner. Local trends, shopping, dining, and more. This is Living Local Carolina.
The following portion of Living Local Carolina is sponsored by Soteria Protection Services. We're having a great day today on Living Local Carolina because today I am joined by Joan and Brandon from Soteria. How are you guys doing?
Great, thank you.
All right, this is kind of the first of our kind here on Living Local. We've never had somebody from y'all's industry, for lack of a better word. So why don't one of you tell me what Soteria Protection Services is and a little bit about the name and where it comes from?
Okay. Well, Soteria Protection Services is an executive protection firm. And often people think of executive protection as just bodyguards, which we certainly are, but there's much, much more to it. And we can tell you a little bit about some of our other services that will amplify that. But first of all, let me say Soteria is actually, in Greek mythology, a goddess who personifies safety and deliverance from danger. So we felt like that was an appropriate name for our firm since that's really the underlying ethos of what we do.
Exactly, and it takes some training in order to be able to do this very well. So why don't you tell me about your background?
So I spent an enlistment in the Marine Corps, did 4 years. I was a military policeman, and then I became a canine cop. After that, I worked for the government for probably 5 years as a private security contractor. At that time, I deployed multiple times overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan as a PSD team member and leader, and also a canine handler.
Gotcha. So we talk about the term executive protection. What exactly does that mean and who needs it, essentially?
So EP work can be celebrities or, a bunch of kids that need to get a ride to school. It's not what people think. It's not just for the wealthy. And that's the point we'd like to get across there.
I like to always say there are many faces of executive protection. I mean, people typically think of it as the suit with the sunglasses and, sort of Secret Service type. And certainly we do that. But also, as Brandon said, it can be shirt sleeves, guarding a family and sort of more of a low profile look and feel.
Gotcha. So walk me through some of the menu of what you guys provide essentially, so people can understand when you could actually use your services.
Sure. You want to start with secure
So we have what we
transportation?
refer to in the industry as secure transportation. Basically, this is your Uber driver who's medically trained. He's been through driving courses, or she. And also, everybody is experienced people who have been overseas. They're either former LEOs or military.
Interesting. All right.
In the corporate environment, we provide services that mitigate risk from any type of workplace violence. An example might be if an employee who's known to be volatile is being disciplined or dismissed. The presence of an executive protection agent can often, just by the nature of their presence, thwart any sort of violent behavior. However, should there be an incident, our agents are trained to de-escalate the situation and, if necessary, to intervene physically. Also, it's important to the other employees because the agent will, in advance of the meeting, clear the exits and also escort the person off the property.
Gotcha.
Right.
And I know you guys are located here in Myrtle Beach, but can you serve areas outside of Myrtle Beach as well?
Sure. We do focus on the Grand Strand for client purposes, but we're available to travel really anywhere in the world with the client, or perhaps more importantly, in advance of the client.
The following portion of Living Local Carolina is sponsored by Soteria Protection Services.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
The following portion of Living Local Carolina is sponsored by CVS Health. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today on Living Local Carolina. You may have noticed this already, but this summer we have been seeing some record high temperatures. It's hot, and that's going to be super important to very vulnerable populations of people who have pre-existing conditions. And that's why today I am joined by Dr. Dan Knecht. He's going to be telling us about a new initiative. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. What is this initiative called? It's the Environmental Health Impact Initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. So heat waves kill more people in America than hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, fires combined each year, right? That's scary. But the good news is keeping people safe, we can truly save lives. So our Environmental Health Impact Initiative is a program that proactively outreaches to our Aetna Medicare Advantage members who are at the highest risk of a poor health outcome related to high heat. We have nurses proactively call these individuals and engage in a individualized, rich conversation around staying safe in high heat conditions.
What sort of resources do patients have access to?
So we bring to bear a number of resources. I think first and foremost, having a nurse have an individualized health conversation with these individuals is so important. We talk about the signs and symptoms of heat stroke, heat exhaustion, but also talk about the role some medications have in putting people at even increased risk of a poor health outcome. Right? For example, cardiovascular drugs or mental health drugs can cause the body's ability to respond appropriately to high heat to be impaired. I think also we educate them about the importance of having access to a cool room, whether that be air conditioning at home or a local cooling center, so we're able to connect dots there. And then finally, thinking holistically, whether it be screening and checking in on mental health and making sure that those folks have access to mental health resources, or just making sure their pets are safe during high heat. We bring to bear a whole suite of solutions. To learn more, you can check us out at cvshealth.com.
This portion of Living Local Carolina was sponsored by CVS Health. Well, honestly, I feel like I need to give quite the introduction here because I'm with Quadre and you have many titles.
Yes.
And you've already been on the show as an artist, you're an entrepreneur, you're an author, and today you're a juiceologist.
Juiceologist.
Do you ever, sleep?
I do sleep, but at the same time, I gotta make sure I gotta, get the work done.
Yeah, he gets the work done. So why are you here today?
So I'm here today to introduce my new juicing book, and so we could actually create and make our own juice today.
I love it. And you wrote this cookbook with all your different juice recipes, but really you can kind of customize to your taste, to what you need. What do we have today?
So today we have one of our favorite juices that I like to make. It's called my Orangeade Power Juice. So we have green apples, we have oranges, we have carrots, and then we also have my favorite thing, ginger.
I love ginger.
Yes.
It's the best. All right, let's get to work.
Let's go.
Well, now we have everything chopped up and ready to go into the juicer. How does this work? I've actually never juiced anything before.
Okay, so this is what you do. So once everything is chopped up and ready, all you do is come over here to the juicer. You gotta make sure you have a plastic bag in the back compartment for where the rest of the things come. Yeah, so it doesn't fly everywhere, so it'll catch it for you. And then there's just a little knob. So there's low speed and high speed. Usually when I juice, I do it on high speed because every fruit has a different type of texture. So like the carrots are a little bit more thicker and harder than the apples and oranges.
Gotcha.
So once you flip the switch just like this, high speed.
It's about to get loud in here,
It's gonna
folks.
get real loud. So once I flip it back on high speed, I'm gonna pull this out. This is the presser. You're gonna drop the fruit down into the hole, and then all you're gonna do is just continue to push this down, and the juice will come out right here on the other side in the department.
Beautiful. To juicing to health.
Yes.
I'm not just saying it, that's so good.
Yes, it is.
That is so good.
It is.
Well, where can people find your cookbook?
You can find my cookbook online at www.gullah-Geechee-Family-Foundation.com. Also on Amazon.com, you can make a purchase.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Well, I am so excited to be back in the kitchen today, and I'm joined by Chef Melinda. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
Let's jump right on into it.
Wonderful.
What do you have for me today?
I have my bestseller for you today. Even though with my layer cakes, the red velvet cake with cream cheese icing, it is the all-time bestseller when I'm at shows. But for regular family events, it is the butter pound cake, the old-fashioned Southern butter pound cake.
I love a pound cake.
Yes, so I couldn't understand why I would be making very elaborate desserts, and people would be sitting there, you know, conversating, and then they would say, "What are you baking today?" And I'm like, "Just a vanilla pound cake." But that would be the sensation for them, is the smell of that butter pound cake, and bringing back old-fashioned memories, I think, is another reason why they just loved it.
It's just gorgeous.
So I made this last night, and I made sure that it was in servable sizes, so that it can hold whatever your topping is. So you don't want to cut it thin when you're going to put some really good stuff on it. So I'm going to serve up the first piece, and this is so versatile. You can serve it with any fruit topping that you would like, any ice cream, Cool Whip, but I'm going to do two things. I'm going to put fresh strawberries and some Cool Whip on them. So I'm going to take my little
We've got
utensils.
some cute tongs. Yes. We've got some cute little forks. She came prepared.
Love, love, love to serve, love to entertain. I think that's where my love of baking comes from, is loving to see the look on people's faces when they taste it for the first time. So here,
it's a love language, you know, like acts of service. I think that kind of falls into cooking.
It really does.
Maybe a little gifts too.
Yes, yes, these are perfect gifts. When I was a teenager and my budget was very limited, this was my bestseller, was to put these in beautiful little cellophane bags and twist ties, you know, with whatever occasion it was, whether it was Valentine's Day or Christmas.
It's perfect for that.
Perfect. So as you can see, they
those are some gorgeous.
are gorgeous. I was like, oh my goodness, this late in the season.
I know too.
Yes, I was so glad to be able to get these. So I'm going to
so
put the first one together. We're going to get our Ready Whip together here.
Not sponsored, but sponsored by Ready Whip.
Yes. So normally I would make this homemade. My children have gotten so spoiled once I realized that you can make this homemade, and it's so much better.
Of course.
She's addicted to it, I must say. Any dessert that has the homemade whipped topping in it,
it's so good.
She's like, excuse me, may I have? Mom, please, can you save me some? So here is the very first bite for you.
Here's the verdict.
Yes. Wait to see what you think.
I want to get a little bit of everything in this bite, so.
It's delicious. Even for breakfast.
That's money right there.
I'm just going to serve
You know how to make a pound cake, I'll tell you that.
Thank you so much.
My goodness.
Like I said, since I was 9, you know, just all of a sudden one day they asked me to make the family birthday cake from a box. And everybody would say, oh my gosh, this can't be from a box. Absolutely, it's not. And I was like, it is though. And they said, well, what's the secret? I'm like, I don't know. I just go by the box. But they were like, no, you're doing something different.
Yeah, you just have a gift, I guess.
It was just the gift coming forth.
Yeah.
And so from there, you know, just a little bit more. From there, of course, the question was, how are you going to start making homemade? And what are you going to make? And so that's where the challenges came in.
Oh, yeah.
So they just start challenging me, and I just kept going.
Don't forget to like our page on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. How to use the QR code. Just open the camera app on your smartphone, iPad, or tablet. Point your device at the QR code so the QR code appears on your screen. Your device will recognize the QR code and show you a notification. Click that notification and you'll come to our website. Living Local Carolina, weekday mornings at 9:30 on WBTW News 13.